Welcome back to another episode of the Omaha News. I'm Katie Wagner.
And I'm Kevin Grace. Coming up in the program, we'll show you how mayoral candidates Gene Stothert and Jim Suttle waited to get the results in from last night's primary election.
Also, find out how the Douglas County Election Commission kept their composure when the ballots came flying in. You're watching the Omaha News.
This is the Omaha News, presented by the School of Communication at the University of Nebraska at Omaha, from the studios of UNO Television.
Mayoral candidate Jim Suttle's viewing party was held at Clancy's Pub off of 114th and Dodge, across from the busy intersection from the Douglas County Election Commission. Supporters started arriving around 7:30 and enjoyed food and drinks while they awaited the arrival of Mayor Suttle. As the bar was beginning to fill up, spirits started to rise as the results from the election started to come in. There was a loud roar that filled the bar as Suttle walked in the door, accompanied by his wife, Deb, and family. By 8 p.m., the realization hit that Suttle would take a close second to top-running mayoral candidate Gene Stothert. With nearly 19,000 votes, Stothert cemented a first-place finish and effectively advanced to the general election in May. For Suttle, a second-place finish with 14,309 votes also kept the incumbent's mayoral hopes alive by allowing him to challenge Stothert in the upcoming race.
The voters will really have a different contrast in the two candidates as we go through the next 6 weeks.
Jim Suttle now faces a third vote to stay in office. He has money in his campaign fund, and he may have to use every penny of it.
Along with Jim Suttle fighting for re-election, Gene Stothert put up a fight, winning the most votes to earn her the second spot on the ballot. Ernest Powell is in the newsroom with more. Ernest?
Thanks, Kevin. The Stothert campaign was very confident before the results came in, and they were right. Gene Stothert is one step closer to become Omaha's first female mayor. Her supporters, including Dottie Matt, who worked on the Miller School Board with Stothert, is ready to lead Omaha in a different direction.
But most of all, improvement in our city. I think the improvement that she's going to bring and the fairness that she's going to bring to the government of our city is obviously irreplaceable.
U.S. Senator Deb Fischer also attended the victory rally last night. Fischer wants Omaha to have a mayor that won't back down under pressure.
I like to see good, strong people who aren't afraid to state who they are and what they believe in, and Gene does that.
Through the night, her supporters were watching the results come in and were cheering during every update. When it became clear that Stothert would indeed move on to the next month's primary, Stothert came out to thank her supporters.
Well, we did it, didn't we?
Stottert's message of smaller, smarter government has been the focal point, including during her victory speech last night.
And I pledged to reduce government spending so we can roll back those subtle tax hikes. Just as important, we will work to make a difference for the residents in our city who live in the most economically challenged parts of the city. With each election, they are told things will be much better, and they're still waiting.
Stothert knows that it will be tough to beat incumbent Mayor Jim Suttle, but her supporters and her campaign is ready for the challenge. Gene Stothert's campaign was looking for a total of 16,000 votes for them to be safe to move on. They ended up with over 18,000 votes. Kevin?
Great report, Ernest. Thanks.
The mayoral primaries wrapped up last night with a close race for the top two positions. The city council primaries had just as much to fight for. 5 candidates competed for 2 spots on the May ballot for District 2. Incumbent Ben Gray and former police officer Tariq Al-Amin advanced. Gary Granat and Virgil Patlin Sr. advanced to the general election in District 4. incumbents Thomas Mulligan and in District 7 will not advance to the general election. Amy Milton and Tim Lonergan led Tuesday night. Both candidates in each of the following districts advanced to the general election. In District 1, incumbent Pete Festerson led Ed Trumper. Incumbent Chris Durham led J.R. Girasso in District 3. In District 5, currently represented by mayoral candidate Gene Stothert, Rich Pauls led Jeff Moore, and incumbent Franklin Thompson led Phil Klein in District 6.
Coming up after this short commercial break, reporter Lauren Harahill gives us details on how the OPS school board is shaping up.
Also, you don't need to be an adult to participate in all the election fun. Find out how kids got involved in the chaotic wave of ballots that came rushing in from last night. You're watching the Omaha News.
PBS is the place you should go first.
There are no advertisers to be satisfied, only an audience to be satisfied.
We take our responsibility as journalists very seriously. We are constantly thinking about our viewers and what they care about.
We want to let you know what the information is, and then you decide what you want to think.
At the News Hour, we are after the facts and only the facts.
You've always known you were a leader, someone who works hard to achieve your goals. You can see it. You can see your success in front of you. You pursue a college education for the old-fashioned reasons, to learn, to make yourself more valuable, to succeed. You need a place that celebrates your ambition and positions you alongside visionary people just like you. You, my friend, belong here, the University of Nebraska at Omaha.
UNO-TV invites you to take a journey around the world, to lush jungles with endangered species, to exotic lands and different cultures, to lost cities beneath the sands. Travel through time to see ancient secrets on the other side of the world, the growth of the American West, or the start of Nebraska's largest city, or just explore our state. Find out about Nebraska in World War II. Learn how Omaha has grown since. Discover the effort to renovate its green spaces, the history of one of its most impressive buildings, or look at its internationally recognized university. For over 20 years, UNO-TV has produced award-winning documentaries that explore, educate, and enlighten. To find out more, call 402-554-2516 or visit unotv.unomaha.edu.
You're watching the Omaha News.
The Omaha Public School District is the largest school district in Nebraska and has more than 50,000 students. The school board had been engrossed with problems the past few years. Many are looking forward to the OPS school board elections as a chance for Omaha Public Schools to start anew.
You will take to continue to stay in touch with the people that you're going to be elected to represent.
The Omaha Public School Board elections have been seen as OPS's chance to regain the community's trust. Mike Flores, a parent of a Central High student, says the school board needs to collaborate more with parents.
Use common sense. That's what's missing in the school board, in the school, common sense.
OPS parents are also saying that the school board needs to become more transparent to the community and prove that the school budgets are being used effectively. The Omaha Chamber of Commerce even felt the need to get involved and created a political action committee, donating over $18,000 to certain school board candidates.
Our economic development, our community is very dependent on the policies and the leadership that are in place, and so we have a stake in that, in ensuring that there's quality leaders.
Primary elections were April 2nd and narrowed the race down to 18 candidates, 9 of which will eventually serve on the Omaha Public School Board.
Those elected into Omaha Public School Board will have their work cut out for them. For the Omaha News, I'm Lauren Harahill.
The Omaha Public School Board general elections will be held on May 14th.
The Douglas County Election Commission's office was incredibly busy getting ready for the primary election. Volunteers as well as Boy Scouts were running all over as they were bringing in the ballots to be counted. Ballot boxes were delivered from the polling places in volunteers' vehicles. That is when the Boy Scouts unloaded the vehicles and placed them on carts and pushed them into the Election Commission building, where the ballot box was checked in and votes would be counted. The system the Election Commission had in place seemed to make the whole process run smoothly.
In other political news, Governor Terry Branstad of Iowa hired a law firm against a discrimination lawsuit which paid nearly $371,000 to date, with no end in sight for the case. The state hired Des Moines attorney George A. LaMarca last year after Iowa Workers' Compensation Commissioner Christopher Godfrey filed a lawsuit accusing Branstad and top staffers of discriminating against him because he's gay. Godfrey claims that the governor cut his salary by nearly $40,000 after he declined to resign. A panel of state officials approved LaMarca's $325 hourly rate. LaMarca says the case merits taxpayer money because he's defending the rights of Branstad and future governors. Godfrey declined to comment on Tuesday on the attorney fees. He called the case a difficult situation.
You've probably noticed by now that some of your friends on Facebook have changed their profile pictures to pink equal signs instead inside a red square. The logo is a work of human rights campaign and is designed to signify one's support of same-sex marriage. Reporter Jiajing Liu has more.
If coming out to the world isn't hard enough for some people, same-sex marriage laws make it even more difficult for their voice to be heard.
That's him, me, and my best friend Mary.
Austin Hoare, who is currently working at a hair salon in Omaha, is a homosexual.
It was probably in middle school, I think around 6th grade. I realized that I was looking at more men than women, or boys than girls.
Although many people oppose homosexuality,
I'm very involved with my faith. I'm a Christian. I don't support it.
Sometimes people even glare at him.
We'll go out, and, go to bars and drink, and I'll kiss him, or he'll kiss me, and it's just, no one says anything about it. Occasionally, you'll get a slur yelled out at you on the streets, but it's whatever.
He thinks love is between two people, and it doesn't affect his life.
I mean, it hurts, but not in a way where it's kind of a big deal anymore.
As for the gay marriage, there are 8 out of 10 interviewees supported.
And the people like who they like what they like, so they're gonna do what they want to do, Can't really control who someone likes, I like a girl, I'm attracted to her, she's got a good personality. The same, they like a guy and they're a guy, it's the same way, it's just their whole view, perspective of the world.
Austin thanks for all the respect from his friends and the society.
It was amazing how no one really cared at that point. I think they all just thought it was so obvious, why don't you just come out, and once you come out, it'll be the same, you'll be fine.
For the Omaha News, I'm Jiajing Liu.
As of January 2013, same-sex marriage has been legalized in 9 states. They are Connecticut, Iowa, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New York, Vermont, and Washington, as well as the District of Columbia.
Coming up after the break, reporter Marie Hanusek says that winter is leaving with the colds, but that we all need to keep Kleenex around for what's about to happen.
Also, Kearney, the town past Lincoln, has a monument that even some locals don't care to visit. Stay tuned to see what they're doing to hopefully get more visitors in the future. You're watching the Omaha News.
Something wasn't right.
Were they lying to the public?
There was a bigger story here than just a plane crash.
It's become the symbol of everything that's wrong with the industry.
My kid got 6 vaccines in one day and he regressed.
Not only are those children who aren't vaccinated at risk, but those who can't be vaccinated are at risk.
Nobody really knew what was going on. What was it in this market that had to be hidden?
I spent millions of dollars in cash bribing government officials.
People in power do not like the investigation to come too close to them.
You never hear these stories.
Thursdays on NET1.
NET Television expands your mind, enlightens your mind, inspires your mind, educates your mind, entertains your mind. NET Television opens up new worlds to you. Explore, travel, learn, discuss, debate. NET Television keeps you informed. Music, theater, dance, art, news. NET Television awakens your dreams, seeks to serve, strengthens our communities. We are Nebraskans. We are NET Television, Nebraska's PBS station.
You're watching the Omaha News.
Welcome back to the Omaha News. I'm Kevin Grace.
And I'm Katie Wagner. Yesterday afternoon, a car crash left one woman dead and another fighting for her life. The woman that passed away veered across a median and struck an oncoming vehicle. The crash happened around 4 p.m. near 204th. Witnesses told police it looked like no one was driving the vehicle when the Honda, traveling eastbound, crossed the center median and drifted into the path of a westbound Buick. Omaha police say a preliminary investigation reveals the driver may have had some medical emergency prior to the crash. The driver's name will be released once investigators locate the next of kin. The driver of the other vehicle, 69-year-old Judy Paulson of Omaha, was taken to Nebraska Medical Center via LifeNet helicopter with life-threatening injuries. It is that time of year again as plants spring back to life. So do allergies, causing seasonal sufferers to reach for their Kleenex and their allergy medication. Marie Hanusek reports.
Not everyone is excited for spring to get here.
You wake up kind of a mess in the mornings, your eyes burn, can't breathe.
Seasonal allergy sufferers know that the budding trees and blooming plants will soon cause them significant discomfort. But there are things you can do to stay one step ahead of the symptoms.
You better be on your allergy medications because the tree pollen is here. And so the allergy medications, whether they're the simple over-the-counter sinus rinses, and if you've seen a doctor before and you have your prescription allergy medications, it's time to start taking them.
Although treatments including medications are very popular, some people prefer to self-diagnose their sniffles and sneezes.
You can try the Benadryls and stuff like that, but then they just make you extremely tired.
Could not treating your seasonal allergies actually make them worse?
When you're missing school, missing work, you're not sleeping well at night, you're fatigued, you're constantly sick, you're requiring maybe even antibiotics because you wait so long you're getting infected. And when it really starts affecting your health or you're spending a lot of money on medications, you should probably figure out what you're allergic to and then get the right treatment for it.
Enjoying a beautiful day like this will be a lot easier if you keep track of pollen counts, which are easily accessible online. For the Omaha News, I'm Marie Hanusek.
A pollen count is an index of the amount of pollen found in the air each day. Visit www.pollen.com for a complete allergy forecast, which can help you plan ahead.
The Archway Museum that crosses over Interstate 80 outside of Kearney has filed for bankruptcy protection so that it can reorganize.
We have high hopes for this season if the gasoline prices hold.
The empty parking lot at the Great Platte River Road Archway Monument will be a thing of the past, hopes Gary Rubicek, executive director of the museum just outside of Kearney.
But we're really excited about the impact of our announcing that we're filing for the reorganization.
The museum has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in an effort to reorganize and buy some time until an interstate exit is completed closer to the arch. Officials hope that once the overpass is completed and it becomes more convenient for passersby to stop, they will experience all the great things that the Kearney Arch has to offer.
Until we get that interchange through, we've never cash flowed here, and that's not a mystery.
One obstacle for Kearney's Arch is to generate local interest.
75% of our visitors are from outside Nebraska.
John Shandera has lived 10 minutes away for the past 3 years and has yet to visit.
I don't know what's prevented us from going. Like, we honestly have never gone over there. We just don't have any interest in it.
The Archway features a popular barbecue restaurant and has many exhibits for both adults and children regarding Nebraska's rich history.
Coming up after the break, reporter Kelly Schultz gives us details on how Madagascar is facing a habitat loss.
And Jared Meyer fills us in on how March Madness is affecting everyone's college basketball bracket. You're watching the Omaha News.
Something new.
Or reach beyond.
Oh my gosh, it's fantastic.
When you want to peer inside.
There's something wrong here. This isn't normal.
It would seem almost impossible. Or push the limit.
Large tornado! It's humongous! We need to get out now!
When you want to dive deep.
These divers are like astronauts.
Our human nature is to push into places that we don't know about.
Or go to the edge.
There are other worlds out there.
We don't know exactly what we're going to find.
When you want to find new frontiers.
I was truly astonished.
You just don't ever know.
Nova.
Wednesdays on NET1.
Most local television news only gives you brief headlines about issues that may be important to you. But for more than 10 years, only one program has remained dedicated to examining all the information about issues that really matter to Nebraskans. I'm Kathy Wyatt, and it's my privilege to present those issues for your consideration. Join me on the campus of UNO in a program we call Consider This, every week on NET1.
The University of Nebraska at Omaha is a place for tomorrow's leaders, a place where individuals converge on a path to success, getting the attention and direction they need as they begin their career. It's where students take pride in serving Omaha, a city we've invested in for more than 100 years. UNO is a place where greatness begins. The University of Nebraska at Omaha.
It's been a crazy year of college basketball, and as we start getting closer to the end of the season with the NCAA tournament, college basketball fans are chomping at the bit to see who is crowned a national champion. Reporter Jared Meyer gives us more.
March, the greatest month of the year to the bracket-filling college basketball fan. Every March, fans expect to see the best teams of the year battle it out for a national championship. But sometimes it's the underdog teams that the nation gets behind. And those underdogs can sure ruin a lot of brackets filled out by the fans. College basketball fan David Ross tells us how his bracket is going so far.
You know, it was looking pretty well, looking pretty good after the first 2 days, or the first weekend of the tournament. It's doing pretty well, but you get the bulk of your points in the later rounds.
After the second round of the tournament, there was no perfect brackets recorded.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be pretty tough to get a perfect bracket, but I mean, no one's going to predict Florida Gulf Coast beating Georgetown. That was a pretty impressive victory. Georgetown, a lot of people had them making a deep run. I personally didn't, which, you know, I feel smart about that now.
Florida Gulf Coast made a name for themselves being the only 15 seed to reach the Sweet 16 ever, but then fell into the hands of their in-state foe, Florida. Wichita State also made a name for themselves this year as they reached the Final Four as a 9 seed. It's the second time a 9 seed has reached the Final Four ever since the tournament started in 1939. The Final Four teams that remain in the NCAA tournament are Michigan, Syracuse, Louisville, and Wichita State. For the Omaha News, I'm Jared Meyer.
Late Saturday afternoon, the Final Four will tip off with Wichita State versus Louisville, then Syracuse and Michigan immediately after the first game.
The 2013 Defenders of Freedom Open House and Air Show has been canceled this year. Officials cited operating budget uncertainties and sequestration as results for canceling the August events. Colonel John Rauch said, "We sincerely enjoy opening our gates to the public and appreciate the tremendous support we get from Bellevue, Omaha, and the surrounding communities." Offutt's Open House and Air Show has been held annually since 1972, which was scheduled for August 24th and 25th. Rauch finished by saying, "We are already looking ahead to when we can open our Open House, Air Show, and Open House."
With spring finally here, outdoor activities are beckoning to Omaha residents. The Henry Doorly Zoo is preparing a fresh spring and summer season, but it isn't only focusing on its exhibits. With more on the story, here's Kelly Schultz.
When most people think of Madagascar, the DreamWorks films and energetic lemur King Julian may come to mind. But lemurs and fossas aren't the only animals native to the island of Madagascar, and the other species that live there are facing a surprising and unfortunate threat. Dr. Lewis says that island environments, from Madagascar to the Galapagos, are one of the most threatened parts of the Earth's ecosystem.
Habitat loss is probably the biggest threat. Madagascar's lost in the last 50 years over 50% of its rainforest for spiny forests. So when you look at a forest like this here in this exhibit, it's pretty sad because that's probably the biggest area. It's the poorest country, part of the country of Madagascar, but it's also being cut down for basically sisal production or some other type of commercial crop that's going to be exported out of Madagascar.
The scientists and researchers at the Henry Doorly Zoo and Aquarium are working hard to keep the species of Madagascar alive and thriving, though they face quite a challenge. Madagascar in particular is home to multiple threatened species, from the radial tortoise to the elusive aye-aye. For more information on the Henry Doorly Zoo, its research, and how you can get involved, visit omahazoo.com. For the Omaha News, I'm Kelly Schultz.
The Henry Doorly Zoo and Aquarium is currently ranked first in the United States by TripAdvisor and ranked second by Family Fun magazine.
Thanks for tuning into the program today. If you're looking for more, check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/The Omaha News.
While you're there, you can check out the news stories our reporters covered, submit story ideas, or give us feedback. We'd love to hear from you. From all of us here at the Omaha News and UNO Television, good night.
UNO Television gives students a chance to work in a real studio. Working on the TV crew, students get hands-on experience with lights, camera, and action. Working on a variety of shows gives students a leg up looking for jobs. In fact, many former crew members work at local stations. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience for students to learn the science and art of TV production. UNO TV, student crew, professional staff, award-winning results.
When will you look deep into space? When will you travel back in time? When will you experience the power of red? When? Anytime. Online at video.netnebraska.org. Search, select, and share with the NET Video Player. Watch our shows on your schedule.